Assistant to Prime Minister, in Ministry of Industries. Mr. Malik Rashid Saab, Minister of State for National Food. Mr. Ihsan Afzal, my nephew. He's a coordinator to commerce to the Prime Minister, and my dear friend Mr. Faiz Chadar Saab is the CEO of TDEP, and dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. This forum to reform regulations is very important and pertinent. Mr. Haroon Akhtar knows more closely than me. I'm also from the private sector, and I know what are the difficulties we are facing. Of course, this is not the first effort. Pakistan has been trying it even earlier, many times. And we have been advocating and claiming that there is a one-window operation. This is a special initiative from the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, that this again has been initiated with vigorous speed. But I still feel that we are lacking somewhere behind. You see, I have witnessed many other countries. I have a chance to visit on business to many, many countries. And whenever I have a chance to speak, I mention that first time I went to China in 1972, 12 November 1972, about 53 years ago. And I vividly remember, and if I say and claim that at that time, Pakistani businessmen from Karachi and Lahore used to teach Chinese business people. So what happened in the last 53 years? We were far ahead from them. I myself had been visiting, I visited more than 50 times to China. Every 6 months I used to go there. I found many, many changes and fast, abrupt regulatory reforms. So what is happening in Pakistan? I'm federal minister, and of course I am responsible for that. And of course SIFC is giving us a lot of support and help, and I feel they are making a wonderful job. But still, there is some lacking. There's something, any investor who comes to Pakistan complains about it. So we have to find some solution. We have to see what is the fast track, how to make Pakistan more acceptable to the foreign investment. It is a very opportune place. I know that the bottom line in Pakistan is the best. And what happened, the people even still are not considering our country. Now, I have noticed that when President Trump took his charge, he took charge of the Minister of Investment. Wherever he goes, he gives a condition. First, when Saudi Arabia invited President, he very clearly mentioned that we want investment, how much investment you can make in US. Only then I will accept your invitation. So there was a negotiation between 600 billion to 1 trillion, 1,000 billion, 1 trillion, and eventually there was huge amount which was committed by Saudi Arabia to US. Now Saudi Arabia is our friend, very close. They have been supporting us. And we have visited them frequently. Their delegations have visited. They have also, about 4 or 5 years before, they mentioned that they will have a refinery here. I know I am from petrochemical business, and I know how important it is to have a refinery, that modern refinery and that a petrochemical plant. They are also interested in the petrochemical, because most of their products are being imported by us from Saudi Arabia. All these, from SABIC. SABIC our family is in plastic business since its invention. So SABIC came Saudi Arabia much later in petrochemical. Originally they were Japanese and Koreans, and then Chinese and Saudis. So there is an opportunity of their investment. But we have to give them the feasible things which we have to give them. If they can invest huge amount in other states. Why can't they invest in their own friendly country, Pakistan? So we are still lacking. Whenever I see our office is working very hard, no doubt in it, that our Secretary, Madam Embreen, and our Dr. Saab just mentioned now, spoke here, they are working very hard, but still there are some obstacles. Each and every department, they are not so efficient in this, that these things should be resolved as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we can't attract investment. What is a tangible investment? What is the investment in Pakistan? We know, each of us know the figures. So the figures indicate, of course, I can speak any time I like, but being a practical businessman, I must feel that there should be more and more practical joint ventures. In my own field, as a private businessman, I made 2 joint ventures, very important joint ventures. One from LG Group of Korea. In a chemical plant, we have a chemical plant in Sheikhupura, and another with Barnas of Malaysian company for rice. So I think it's easy, but still, when the investors come here, they feel they have bottlenecks. They have to go from pillar to post, to one department to other departments, to federal government, to provincial government, and to each and every, and bottlenecks are there still. We have to, ourselves, the politicians, we would have to finalize that how the things should be evolved so promptly, because our country, huge country, very important country, the country which showed strength and they showed that there's no, the internal conflicts can be resolved very easily. We have showed in this war of 4 days with India. So how can't our politicians and our civil bureaucrats can give results? I know Mr. Haroon Akhtar is a very dynamic, and we all are working under the dynamic and Shabazz speed of the Prime Minister. But we feel this is the time. We don't have more excuses, and Pakistan should think about these regulations as early as possible. Still, Dr. Saab, I know that you are working very hard, but I'm not satisfied. I tell you very frankly, we should have more efforts. We should feel, and all departments should give us assistance. It is not any one ministry or any one department job. It is a job of the whole country. How to have more and more tangible investment, how to have more joint ventures. The opportunities are there, the market is there of 240 million people, and even our associations and chambers. I have been associated with them since very long. I'm the only person, I must tell very frankly, who have been representing my family has been representing in all these chambers. Myself, I had a chance to become president Karachi Chamber of Commerce. I contested there for many, many years, and when I found that the things are not being resolved in those chambers, I decided to come into politics. No one from our families was in politics, but my father also asked me vigorously, it is not our job, why are you going to politics? It is our business we have to do. We have, from Chanyot, there are leading families of business. But I insisted, I felt that even I did not accept my father's advice. I felt that this is the forum. There we could have in a national, if I go to the National Assembly, then we can make things easier. But still, after my long tenures of since 1993, I feel that I couldn't do what should have been done for the country. So I think we should have more resolve, we should have dedication, we should have make more and more efforts. The other countries have done it. Mr. Scott Jacob is here. He has done in various countries. He has made revelations. A very important person giving us advice. And I would like that all of us should make more effort. Of course, there are lacking, and we should make some fixed period how these regulations will be finalized. If you take years and years just to finalize these regulations, it will not make the desiring result. So thank you very much. I think it is my talk was something different from the traditional speech, But this is from my heart. I feel that we don't have more time. Our country is, you must be realizing how important region we are in, and there are conflicts, and many countries don't want the progress of Pakistan, particularly our neighboring countries. So we have to give results, and hopefully with all efforts, my efforts and with my team efforts and all efforts from the departments, we will inshallah give results. Thank you very much.
नाज़रीन, वफाकी वज़ीर बोर्ड ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट कैसर अहमद शेख इस वक्त इस्लामाबाद में नेशनल रेगुलेटरी कॉन्फ्रेंस से खिताब कर रहे थे। उन्होंने कहा कि सरमायाकारी में हायल रुकावटों को दूर कर रहे हैं। वज़ीर आज़म मोहम्मद शहबाज शरीफ गैर मुल्की सरमायाकारी के लिए दिन रात काम कर रहे हैं। सरमायाकारों को एक छत के नीचे सहूलियात फराहम कर रहे हैं, जबकि रेगुलेटरी इस्लाहात शफाफियत और पायदार तरक्की के लिए नागुज़ीर हैं। सरमायाकारी में हायल रुकावटों को दूर किया जा रहा है। इस्लामाबाद में नेशनल रेगुलेटरी कॉन्फ्रेंस इस वक्त जारी है और वफाकी वज़ीर बोर्ड ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट कैसर अहमद शेख खिताब कर रहे थे। नाज़रीन, सरमायाकारी के हवाले से कैसर अहमद शेख ने बात की। उन्होंने कहा कि सरमायाकारी मईशत के लिए इंतहाई अहम है। सरमायाकारी में हायल जो रुकावटें हैं उनको दूर कर रहे हैं।
Honorable guests, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I hate to read from a written text, but I'll reluctantly do that today, and I'll try to do my best to get out of it and speak from my mind. It's great to be here. Qaiser Sheikh Saab is an old colleague, Rana Ehsan Saab, Minister of State for Food, Ambreen, Faiz Chadar Saab, Jamil Qureshi Saab. Great to see you, sir. I love when I see some change coming in on a national level, and this is the point that I see there's a change coming in Board of Investment. I still remember that when President Erdogan took over in Turkey, he said that we are going to make Turkey a developmental state rather than a regulatory state. And that's what Board of Investment is trying to do. My colleague mentioned many things that the business community faces on the ground. The problem naturally is that in most instances, the people that make the policies are very good in economics and in academics, but sometimes they are drifted away from ground realities. And on the other hand, the people who know the ground realities do not know much about economics and investment and theory. So here, we have a bunch of cabinet colleagues who know both. So we are a good combination. I myself, I'm an actuary. I spent a lot of time in America and Canada. I'm a fellow of the Society of Actuaries in America and a fellow of the Canadian Institute of Actuaries. And I started working in a large insurance company, and I learned a lot there. And I worked there for half a decade, and then I moved to New York. And I mean, you do half of your exams during your university and the other half while you're working. So when I finished my exams at a very early age, I used to look at my president. I was a young man in my very early 20s, and I looked at the president. His name was Sid Jackson, and he was 62 or 63 years old, and I said, there's no way that I'm going to wait another 40 years to become the president of this company. There's much more to life. And after 5 years of working, I left the company, moved to New York, started my own business. I am an accidental entry to politics in Pakistan, but politics taught me a lot. I've been an MPA, member of Provincial Assembly of Punjab a couple of times, and senators twice. But that's where I learned how the government works. And then I was Minister for Revenue for 3 years. And that's where I learned how to get taxes out of people. We try to do it the right way, but sometimes the right way goes into the wrong way. We do collect taxes, but that shatters the business confidence. So you have to keep it the right balance. You see, Pakistan is in a unique position today. We took over this government a year and about 4 months back, and the macroeconomic indicators had gone haywire. I mean, I remember the inflation in 1 month had gone up to 38%. Policy rates were 22%, which didn't mean that the business community getting loan at 22%. They were getting loans at 24 to 25%. And the reserves were down. The corporate tax rates had gone up so high, I had never seen them that high in my stint in Pakistan for 32 years. So that's where we started from. Today, the inflation is down to a minimal 1.5%, 0.7%. That's a great achievement. We've halved the policy rate, 22% down to 11%. The reserves have started to go up. They're stable. Not the ideal position, but they're going up. And the biggest challenge for the business community, the biggest cost disadvantage that we have, not just for the domestic industry, for the domestic consumption, but also for the exporter, is the power, the energy. That's the biggest challenge. But that has seen its worst and started to come down now. This budget has shown some hope that the corporate tax rates are also going to come down. The super taxes are starting to come down 0.5%. Very small decrease, but it gives a signal that this is a temporary phenomena. Basically, we're going to do away with the super tax and come back to a 29% corporate rate. So the power rates have also come down. The Prime Minister, making use of the reduced gasoline prices, passed it on to reduce the power rates, which not only helped the common consumer, but also helped the corporate sector and the industrial sector a lot. So these are the three factors that affect our competitiveness right now. The power, higher power rates, the higher interest rates, and the higher tax rates. So we've got to start from where we are. There's great hope. The macroeconomic indicators are stabilizing, and the government has shown its resolve of bringing the corporate disadvantages down to the level that we were a few years back. So now we have to see the trickle-down effect. Now we've got to turn around the economy. Now we've got to go to our dream of a GDP growth of 7% and sustain it for 10 years, and that is the dream of our Prime Minister, Shahbaz Sharif. Once Pakistan is in the range of 6 to 7% GDP growth, and once we are able to sustain it at least for 7, 8 years, that is when we are going to go on the road to be a developed country from a developing country. What does it take to do that? Our biggest problem is the exports, or the reserves. Why do we have to go to the door agencies every 3 or 4 years? Because the moment we cross the line of 3 to 4% GDP growth, it drains the reserves. Why? Because the imports start going up faster than the exports, and it hits the reserve. So that's the catch-22. What do you do with that? How do we do that? So, in short, the exporters are our lifeline. We've got to ensure that our exporters become competitive. And that's not going to happen through a miracle. That's going to happen by making the exporters efficient, which we're going to do that, but also by removing their cost disadvantages. As I mentioned, the power, the corporate tax rates, and the interest rates. It's not going to do anything if we are unable to do that, but we are on the road to do that. Once we build our exports, and once we restore the confidence of our business community, of our investor, money will start flowing in within Pakistan, first by the domestic investor, then the foreign investor is going to follow. It's never the other way around. It's never. And that's what we are doing. We are making it easy for an investor to invest money. And I'm going to tell you what we are doing for the industrial policy. We are going to restore the investor confidence. People are afraid that their money will be taken away by some agency. There will be some investigation and they lose the money. A lot is happening. I have suffered it. I have seen people suffer it. And that's going to stop. And we're going to stop that. So now I'm going to go reluctantly to my written speech because you should know exactly what we're doing and how we are going to formulate the industrial policy. So this national industrial policy is a key pillar to the overall Prime Minister's economic initiatives for transformation and advancement of Pakistan. That's part of it. And then a number of other things, including what Qaiser Sheikh Sahib is doing. And there is right sizing, and there is effort to bring in foreign investment in minerals, in infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So this policy, our policy, the national industrial policy, is not going to be a document. I'm a practical guy. I believe in actions. So that's why I'm reluctant to reading a paper, because I am going to demonstrate through actions to restore the businessman confidence. And I'll tell you what small things, macroeconomically, we're going to do all right. But microeconomically is what a lot of people who are deciding on the macro side do not know what is happening underground. And that can impede your progress. And that is where I and Qaiser Sheikh Sahib and Ihsan comes in. We all come from the industrial private sector. So it's not a document, it's a comprehensive strategy to revitalize Pakistan's industrial sector, create employment, boost exports, and foster innovation-led inclusive economic growth. You've heard this many times, but we really mean it. The Ministry of Industries, which is my ministry, is spearheading this initiative with technical support from a team of experts led by Professor Nicholas Lee, who used to be the chief economist of Britain's Department for International Development. They help us a lot. Thank you very much. If somebody is here from the previous DFID, we are getting a lot of help from them. This policy aligns closely with the broader mission of the Prime Minister of Pakistan economic initiatives, as I just said, to transfer and advance Pakistan and make it an investor's haven. We want to make that. We know what it takes. We've seen our neighbors. We've seen China. We've seen Dubai, Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, and many of them were worse than where we are. We are in a much better position than them. So if they could do it, so can we. What's wrong with that? I've done businesses in many countries, and the resilience of the business community here is unmatchable. I tell you, we are on that on that edge right now for takeoff. Unfortunately, in the past, we've been in this position many times, then political instability takes its toll, and we go back. We move 2 years and go back 3 years. And it's not going to happen here. There's a lot of stability now between the establishment, the government, and everything is set for us. So we've got to move aggressively, cautiously, and in the right direction. The greatness of a Prime Minister is that he consults a lot. He talks to the experts. He talks to the business community, and then comes up with the right decision. So we are on the course, on the right course. Our hands are tied somewhat, which also has helped us a lot, is the fund program, the IMF program. So there's there's not a giant leap that we expect in the next 2 years. But once the bases are set and we have covered the negativities, then we're going to go for a takeoff. This policy seeks to create an environment conducive to both domestic and foreign investment, which is very important, while enabling the industrial sector of Pakistan to compete effectively on the global stage.